Welcome to the Creative Playing Podcast Network. Join us as we review our favorite RPGs, collectible card games, MMOs, video games, PC games, and bring up interesting topics and things that we'd like to share with everyone. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and rpgpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening. Welcome to the More the Merrier Masterminding Group Cosplay. I am the moderator and also a group cosplayer. I am Kellie Spinger, and I've been costuming for well over 20 years, but I very much enjoy group cosplay.
Hi, I'm Wendy Trakes, and I have been cosplaying since I was about 12, which was a very long time ago, with the Society for Creative Anachronism when I first joined that. So it was medieval costuming. T-tunics are very easy to start with, so that's where my costuming stuff comes from.
My name is Sabrina Floyd. I've been costuming for approximately 7 years, and mostly doing steampunk.
Ladies, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Would you mind, awfully, if I live cast your panel?
Not at all.
Is that alright? Is that amenable to all three of you? You're good sports, thank you. Love you. Alright. That's my question. I'm just going to sit here and love you.
Alright, so now, for group cosplay, what are the things that you keep in mind when you want to do a group cosplay? I mean, we've all done individual costumes before as well, but what are some of the elements that you think about when you're planning a group cosplay?
I think one of the most important parts is making sure that there's open communication between all the members of the group cosplay, so everybody can stay on the same page together.
Well, yeah, definitely communication, and also who's going to be comfortable in what, because when you have, let's say, for example, there are different kinds of group cosplay. You've got group cosplay where it's a bunch of people of the same type of character, maybe in like a team or something along those lines, where the costumes are all very similar.
Like Harry Potter.
Like Harry Potter, they're all in their robes, and they're, we've got a scarf here and stuff like that, but it's all very similar, so you're going to want people to be comfortable, A, wearing that, and B, being able to have something similar. And actually, I think it's easier. It's easier not to do the team cosplay. And so I think about this stuff, and the reason is that then, because you've got so many people, let's say you've got 5 people that you have to coordinate and communicate. The important part is, are they going to be able, are they interested in one? Are they going to be comfortable in the costume? Because some people aren't comfortable dressing in certain ways, which is fine. And are they going to be able to pull that together? And of course, you want people who are going to be able to help each other. So it's the participants.
Yeah, definitely communication, because you get the idea like, oh, this would be so great if we did this. And then you also have to be very communicative when you're assigning the roles too, because you don't want somebody to feel less important than another character, because a lot of times if it's like we saw a fantastic group cosplay at TusCon Comic-Con this past weekend.
The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid, and it's like normally most people say, well, there's Ariel, and then of course you have Prince Eric,
right?
And those are the big 2 main ones. But they did an amazing job, even though some of them were even much smaller roles. The cook was, I love it. I absolutely
He had
love
the
the
little
cook.
Sebastian in his pocket.
And I
That
kept
was
singing
amazing.
the song every time I saw him. But Le Poisson. But all the stuff. I mean, you had his manservant valet,
Right.
and he looked amazing. You had the maid. She was awesome. You know, it's like, but you had Ursula not as the tentacle
Right.
one, but her
Her
human
form.
when she was trying to steal the prince. You know, but the way they all worked together, and the way they all, you could tell they were all communicating
Yeah.
as to how they were doing the costumes, how they were, who was going to do what, and it totally worked, and it was magic.
Well, and not only that, they definitely, I would assume that beforehand, because I saw them doing all these pictures where there was even, where Ursula and Ariel were fighting over Eric and trying to kiss him, and then, just the different poses that they did. I mean, it could have been very fluid, I guess, but it seemed like they had thought about what they were going to do with those characters when
They
they
had a
got
plan.
them on the floor. Yeah.
Definitely. So, what are some of the group cosplays that you guys have done?
Past couple years, Phoenix Comic-Con, the first group cosplay that I would define as a group cosplay. I guess reenactment doesn't really count as group cosplay, even though. But no, the first group cosplay was I put together Slave Leia Disney villains for Phoenix Comic-Con. Unfortunately, my Ursula did not get premiered because I got ill and was unable to attend Phoenix Comic-Con that year. However, we had several fantastic costumes, and I got to at least see photos of them, including the Huntsman from Bambi, and and he was amazing. But the big thing with that, and I was still kind of learning how to organize a group, is that the big thing with that is I come up with just a kind of a blanket concept. I want to kind of merge these two things together. It would be silly, it would be fun, let's do something with it. But the other thing I had to think about was, and as I said before, people need to be comfortable in their costumes. And if you're walking around in a skimpy little skirt and a bikini top, people have to be comfortable with that. And so the funny part is that one of the gals that I asked, we discussed, because she wanted to do Elsa. Now, most people would think that Elsa is not a villain. But she did an amazing Slave Leia Elsa. She actually has worn it to several other conventions. We made the argument that Elsa is actually the one that causes all the destruction in the movie, and therefore must be the villain, even though she turns it around in the end. So she came through with that, and so we did. We talked a lot about it. That was the first one. I'll move to the second one really quick. The second one was a concept by a friend of mine who is very much into Lord of the Rings. So we did a gender bent Fellowship of the Rings, and I was Samwise, and that was the year Phoenix Comic Con had Sean Astin. So we all got a photo with Sean Astin in our costumes. And we had a Facebook group, and we were communicating almost daily. People were saying it with photos and things like that. Here's what I'm doing for my construction. The hobbits were figuring out feet. That was a big thing. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was the communication. But I learned a lot between those two. But I haven't done a huge number of group cosplays.
Well, we've done Assassin's Creed.
Nice.
We did How the West Was Oz for a steampunk parade down in Tombstone, and we kind of bent it, more of a cowboy theme with the steampunk. And then Minions we've done, where we did Star Trek Minions with our friends. And they had Spock and Jim. and Khan is the crazy purple one, and Klingon is the crazy purple one. And then I pretty much have a built-in team. So whenever I'm with my husband, I have to think about, as his handler, what my costume's going to be with his. So one, I can be in the pictures, so I'm always next to him, and two, so that way I can help him, get in and out of the big builds like he does.
So yeah, because since you're his handler, you need to be able to, you have to fit with his costume. Mm-hmm. So help that out. I myself, I'm an identical twin, so I'm used to group. I primarily with the TusCon Steampunk Society and stuff, but with the Eldorado days and all those, where there's themes for the parades,
right?
Which I count that as a group cosplay, because everybody takes that, and how am I going to make my character? Now, what's nice about that one is it's not as exactly, and then there's, well, I'm going to do this, and like there was like the when we did the Alice in Wonderland one, where we kind of said who was going to be Alice, we actually had them a little more structured, where but I'm like, I want to be the caterpillar, so you know what, I got to be the caterpillar. We were going to have another caterpillar, but then she changed, but we had like a few Cheshire cats and stuff, but we really wanted to make sure that Alice, there was very specific people who were representing Alice, just to make the theme more succinct and tie it closer together, as opposed to kind of all over the place. We needed to make sure that it had a direction. And one of my main group cosplays is the Chemistry Girls, where we created these group of mad scientists who are very lovely ladies, but they are bent on world domination via their concoctions of special teas. So, and that was a collaborative effort with my sister and another friend that sort of took on a life of its own, and now we are legion. We have many, and there will be more Chemist Tea Girls. So, where you take a theme and you just run with it.
I always think of the Powerpuff Girls when I see you guys in cosplay.
They were partial inspiration.
Yeah,
even
fantastic.
Yes, the color schemes were taken from there. So we kind of took the whole idea of Brian Kessinger's Tea Girls, because he would do these wonderful paintings with tea, actual tea, and we're like, okay, yeah, well, we had this theme for the Dickens tea, and we're like, oh, better living through chemist tea, and then, oh, we should dress as mad scientists, and we took it one step further. We should make everything, and so we actually have a uniform of sorts. It's very, we have a specific style lab coat, a colored wig to match whatever our color is, generally an outfit in that color. You have to have your colored gloves, and the buttons have to match, and we even have our own patch. Yeah, we do. We have our own logo.
And that, I think, is probably the more difficult way of doing group cosplay, is to have all of those matchy-match. Everything needs to be lined up. For the ones that we did, we talked about the basic parts and pieces, but everybody sourced stuff differently. Everything was, the feet, I think, was, for the hobbits, was probably the main thing that we tried to keep as uniform as possible. Because it was practical. We used jelly sandals and put fake fur on them. Because they were clear. They're clear sandals. It's Phoenix. It's really, really hot. And those big, I had actually bought some of those big rubber feet, and they don't stay on properly, and B, I wouldn't want to walk around on asphalt in those things, even with shoes inside them, because it would destroy the foot too. So that I think was the only super uniform thing that we had. We did share, hey, I found this, hey, I found that. But overall, we created our own vision of our character for the thing. Whereas with something like the Chemistry Girls, it's like, okay, well, I found this button. Now we need to all get this button.
The lab coats all have to be the same.
Yeah.
But the dress or the outfits that you have underneath it, well, you still have to have your gloves and your lab coat and, the wigs. You can, as long as it's in your color scheme, you can do whatever you want for the lower part. So we have one person, she preferred bloomers, so I need her bloomers. Corsets, dresses, two of the the latest Chemistry Girls bubbles. She has more of a Lolita style ensemble, and then we have Honey, who is, hers is more of a, I guess, kind of almost like a fusion of fantasy and Renaissance into her outfit, because it was designed for her shape and comfort in mind, so to be more comfortable without, so not a real corset, but like slightly corseted, just to give, and plus so she could wear it as another Halloween costume. So that kind of, uniformity, it's still all similar, yet individual, so that each girl can express their own personality.
Personality.
There seems to be a theme.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah, we kind of, to say that we went obsessive with the minutiae of the Chemistry Girls would probably be an understatement.
Devil's in the details.
Oh yes, and we're devilish. But now I know I have group cosplays planned in the future. Do you guys have plans that you guys want to do, or that you're willing to reveal? I know some. Unless you.
It's in the works, but it's the brainchild of the same gal that had come up with the gender bent fellowship. So I'm not going to announce it unless she says it's okay. So.
We're going to be Klingons here shortly.
Nice.
Oh, really? Now that I'm excited.
Klingons?
You haven't got the email yet.
Oh,
Klingons.
well, the other one for the Yeti.
Oh,
I thought she said clowns. That's why I said, I was like, what?
Is it going to be Discovery Klingons?
No, not Discovery.
No, it's not.
It'll be a little more old fashioned than that, but yeah, that's one of the next ones. And then John and I have a Yeti and a Winter Huntress costume that we're working on together. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those.
I'm doing a special group cosplay for the robots, oppression of the dinosaurs, that one was called.
Where they rope or you already said the end?
Yeah.
We're not quite sure. We're thinking about doing a robot, but I don't know if it'll be a group. You have to deal with Visa. That's a group in itself.
Yeah.
Well, you do have to have some Secret Service.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
Gentlemen.
I forgot about that one.
President General Robot.
You've kind of given me an idea, because I had a cosplay for me in mind, but now I'm going,
And I know these young people who are often looking for tasks. Be very good at Secret Service.
Yes.
Can't you just see handy keeping a secret and be very low key?
with a big old button that says Secret Service.
Yes.
Very subtle. Very subtle.
They
Maybe
have
a
to
back
be in
patch.
brown.
And a big swirly
Brown
ear trumpet for the
Yeah.
ear.
Yeah, exactly like the old fashioned.
like in Wild West. Yes.
I think
if you
we've got a
ever
group
wanna-
cosplay going on.
Yeah, if you ever want to know how the group cosplay gets started,
This
Yes.
Welcome to the
Collaboration.
How
magic
they
you got a
craft.
bunch of costumers in a room and
Yes.
you start talking.
Or you start talking on Marco Polo about, oh, we need to be back cats.
Yeah.
We actually started talking about the Secret Service when we were at
At
San Diego at the
Gaslight.
end, and we were just standing around talking, and that's literally
Well,
how
not
that-
only is this how it starts, but also people who are not in the room get volunteered very, very quickly.
Yes.
No, hey, by the way,
It's
you know,
their
my
fault they're not
daughters
here.
look really great
Yeah.
in that. Yeah.
It's their fault
You're
they're not
welcome
here.
here. Thank you, Patty.
My husband, he gets told for a number of.
She said it correctly.
Yes.
Voluntold?
But he's very gracious about it when I voluntold him, or to others. Oh yeah, my husband could play this. So
Right. That'd be great. That
I'll make him a costume.
It'll
happen.
I have only
He just
been
has
able
to
to
show
do
up.
that once with my husband, and it actually was a photo shoot. I don't think he would ever show up in costume to a convention, which is sad, but it also means that he's free to lace my corset. There we go. So
That's actually how the Red and the Wolf started. Was not of my volition that time. That was she found a really cool picture online, DeviantArt, of a Red Riding Hood that looks steampunk.
The RYP.
She said, "I really like to do this,"
Something.
and
No, not Ruby. It was actually an artist out of Brazil that her picture had been passed around from DeviantArt, and I tracked her down and said, "I would love to make a costume. May I please?" And she said, "Yeah, absolutely." So,
That's nice.
And it came out awesome.
Yeah.
I like the Lemon Pirates took off just for doing that because people wanted to be my crew.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is that you got the inspiration. I mean, I remember Phoenix Comic-Con. The madam had a panel, and unfortunately, her hotel room was now, and I'd stayed in that hotel the year before. So, and I knew that it's a little bit more of a distance from the con area, and the poor thing had forgotten something.
My
So,
badge.
yes.
Not my badge.
So
Not my
everyone's
badge.
sitting in the panel waiting, like,
where is she?
and so a few minutes late, you weren't that late, she comes rushing in, poor thing, bustling, and she told the most delightful story of how she was waylaid by lemon pirates, trying to steal her lemons.
Let us be accurate. They were
You were constant.
angry dwarves from Mordor who were growing Mordorian lemons for the lemon pirates. They were attacking these lemons to try and bring me over to the lemon side.
Yes.
It's the most ridiculous story in creation for why I was late.
because you
But
couldn't have
everybody-
said you left your badge.
But everybody enjoyed it immensely, and Evie found out about it, and
Well, she came into one and was saying somebody asked, "Do we have lemons for the tea?" And she goes, "No. On the way here, we were stopped by the pirates, the Spanish lemon pirates, stole our lemons and left us bereft."
Had
And
to be
then-
in Spanish.
And then when the madam was actually working the Del Mar Fair, our dear lemon pirate actually was at a separate pirate event at the time, but was going to come and say hi to everybody who we had traveled down with madam for one of the days or one of the weekends. And this glorious creature shows up in her pirate ensemble, and on that hat was the most delightful insignia
The lemon pirate insignia.
made out of lemons.
Skull and crossbones made out of lemons and spoons.
And from that moment on, the lemon pirates on the airship Satronia have set sail upon the seas and the airs to basically
Scourge
steal
of the
everybody's.
Southern United States.
And Canada
And
now.
that is a
David
history.
branch of the
History.
pirates.
let this be a lesson that group cosplay does not have to start with a movie or a book or anything. It can start with a story and a cool insignia, and people are going, "I want to do that."
And like, so yes, we got every con we go to, and we do a fashion show, and there's the lemon pirates, and we've added new items, and lemon scarves.
And new mottos, Chakumba.
Chakumba. And, so people want to be a part of it because we're stupid and crazy.
And it will take on a life of its
It
own.
does.
Yeah.
It has.
Chemistry Girls started as a Dickens tea table theme. Just better living through chemistry. That was the title.
Well, our Dickens
Still have
tea
that
this
tea.
year, I think is probably going to take off the same way. We won't say what it is.
Super secret.
It's super secret and I'm recording.
And it's
Yes.
super secret, and it's going to be
There are Arctic people trying to get me to give out the information this past.
off the hook.
I think the moral of this story is no idea is too silly. Run with it.
Exactly.
Naughty.
Yeah.
And there's always
That's
people
another
who are
good-
willing to play with you. You know, and so embrace it. Embrace that play aspect.
Diane.
And the more the merrier.
Caffeinati.
Mhm.
Let's do it.
I've got the ropes. I've got the presents, girl.
I got the opportunity.
And Madam Stu got that on recording.
Equal opportunity capitalist.
Wendy,
I
I
love
do have
it.
the patterns for the ropes.
Excellent.
So,
And to Wendy.
And to
And the artwork for that.
And Gaslight has like all the
And I
coffee
have
beans,
those.
so I'm sure.
I still have
She has all the
a
coffee beans.
bag.
yeah, group play.
Fortunately, everyone who's
It
watching
is.
this
Group
is familiar
cosplay
with
is
the
And
and it should be fun because then it's not.
exactly. You know, it should. If you have somebody who in your group is like, do that person. I hate that character. Yeah, don't make them.
And honestly, it's okay to have two of the same. If they both want to be Legolas, let them both be Legolas because they're going to have different interpretations. And you can make a lot of that. You can make it really funny.
Sassy Legolas
Yeah.
and dignified.
Yeah, we had and we actually went through a couple of people in the Lord of the Rings cosplay because a couple folks couldn't make it to Phoenix Comic-Con. And so if I recall correctly, one of the gals who was looking at doing Gandalf wanted to be sexy Gandalf, which would have been awesome, and I wish that she had been able to do it. But it would have been completely different than the rest of us. Some of us had really taken kind of a literal interpretation where the female, what if we, you know, the book was written and it was all women. We had an amazing dwarf. She had the full beard and long hair and, you know, was just absolutely amazing. You know, and I know that's not much different than if it were the male dwarf, but you know, these things happen.
But Jerry says it's very important to acknowledge those differences.
Yeah.
Proper sleeve wax.
Yep. But in the same instance, yeah, if you've got somebody who's like, I really wanted to do this character, and somebody else has already kind of signed up for that, be like, okay, let's do two. And some people might ask when they're taking pictures, how come there's two, whatever? And it's like, because that's what we wanted to do. You don't have to come up with an excuse. This is for fun. This is because you like it. You want to be creative. You want to be ridiculous. And I think the most fun is walking out with your group of friends, and you've done all this work, and people are like, holy wow. Whatever, you're broadcasting. I'm not going to swear. We are not swear wolves. But you know,
It's just very like you're from England.
no, because it's on the internet.
That's fair, but I'll tell you, I swear like I'm from England all the time.
Well, in my house,
I thought
that's
you
how we
were
swear.
from
But yeah, but no, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable, and no matter if you've got 4, which would be absolutely hilarious, but 4 of the exact same character all lined up together. Deadpool does it all the time. You've got like mass Deadpool, but even then, it's just as fun, and people are going to really want to see what you've done with it, and they're going to enjoy you.
And now, another cute thing that I've seen is like, say you have a trio of characters. Okay, but you only got 2 people willing to do the group cosplay. Sometimes they'll do. Oh, thank you. Yeah, they'll do like a doll version of the missing trio.
Oh yeah,
you know, and
we're
that's
on a stick.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's always sweet.
We have
because
missing
it's like-
guest authors on a stick frequently. Sometimes, so yeah.
I really need Glenn on the stick.
You do. You need
Yes.
a Glenn on a stick.
Yeah.
We need a Glenn marionette.
Phlegm on a
Yes, we'll
stick.
make that
I came into the wrong end of this conversation.
So, like when you're doing a group puzzle, you can have one of the interns like putting his face up, like, oh, look, Glenn is here.
If he's a marionette, he'd be like,
We could totally do that. Smile of his.
hey, if it's steampunk, we just make a little doll with a mechanical arm.
There we
Oh,
go.
that'd be cool. On a spring.
Yeah. Or
Yes.
with the little, take one of the little solar
A
active
Glenn
things.
up on the
Yeah.
shelf.
Every time she walks outside, his arm
somebody else is
just-
gonna have to do that one because my
Somebody
schedule's
build it.
full.
I think John has got the
I was gonna say, yeah, John's gonna
He's
get
got
lost
the
on that
vision.
one.
He's got the vision.
I need a 5x10 pipeline.
I need a 3D model, you know, I need front, back, side, you know, aerial.
Well, we know somebody with a 3D printer,
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
so you got that covered.
that's very true. And plus, I don't know if you guys are aware, but the U of A actually has 3D printer that people can use. Yes, they even have classes.
ASU also has a full makerspace now with 3D printers. So if you're in the Phoenix metro area and you are faculty, staff, or students, or no faculty, staff, or students,
Like my sister.
we could possibly cut a deal.
Yeah, so.
So they make connections within the community because you're going to find people who will be like, oh yeah, if you design the thing, I'll just take it. I'll schedule some time with the 3D printer. We'll work it out, and I'll get the stuff to you. Because that technology is becoming more and more common in various areas, makerspaces, things of that nature. There's a couple makerspaces in Tucson, including U of A. Zero Craft, and also because I'm coming down from Phoenix, there's Tag Shop, which is expensive, but they've got the big stuff. So and there are people within the community that have access to that big stuff, and you can say, hey, I need a metal cutout of X, Y, and Z with these specifications, but you need to do the homework for that. They're not going to research it for you for free, but they may. It depending on who you're in contact with. Hey, you're going to Tech Shop today. How much is for the materials? Can you cut this out for me? Here's the specifications, or something along those lines.
And if it is like somebody you know who has 3D printers or the tools that you don't have, or that expertise, that you don't have, but like the tools, it's like I will pay for the materials. I will be happy to pay for the materials if you help me and, buy you lunch, or also, you know what? Hey, you may not be as good at this thing as I am, and you know what? Not only am I going to pay for the materials, and, buy you lunch probably, but, I can make this for you.
Yep. Which is
I'll be
another
happy to.
cool thing about the group cosplay too, because you're gonna have makers that can specialize in different areas.
Different,
maybe, a
experience
seamstress
levels,
versus a prop maker versus. So that's kind of a nice flow too. Is you have the different skill sets of the group.
And if you're not an experienced cosplayer and you still have a group cosplay idea, you never know, what your friend's skill spaces are. So if your skill is organizing things, that's something that a lot of group cosplays miss out on. And then the things get messy, complicated. You lose a lot of stuff in the process. So you could be like, hey, I'll take the organization and we'll set up, a brainstorming dinner, or we'll do this or we'll do that. That's your thing. And then you could be like, can you help me stitch this together, or can you help me find this this item I'm looking for online that maybe somebody else. Etsy is amazing sometimes. I got my Professor Trelawney wand handmade by a gal in California, and it's not identical to Professor Trelawney because I actually wanted the runes on the side to be visible, so she did gold paint on it. So you can do that and find other makers online. But somebody else told me, hey, this gal, because I had done the Trelawney cosplay for a while. She's like, you don't have a wand? I said, no, I don't have a wand. She said, I know this gal on Etsy. She does these. Contact her. She'll make it custom for you. And So it's your contacts within your circle, and also your other group cosplay people. That expands your circle that much wider, and you can get a lot of cool stuff done.
Definitely don't underestimate that person who does the organization.
Yeah, no
or as we call my sister, the Major General. She is
Do not underestimate
so her
the
superpower
power of a brainstorming meal or dessert, because ideas flow while you're eating sugar and drinking caffeine.
Or in a panel about costuming, or just
and it also helps.
Did you say caffeine or coffee?
Caffeine.
Caffeine. It also helps to keep the momentum, because especially if you're planning on, hey, next year let's do this. A year is a long time, but it isn't really.
How many group cosplays do we have for next year?
Oh my goodness! We have quite the phenomenal list. I mean, do you want me to start listing them, or are we keeping some of them?
I mean, I was sort of teasing.
Um,
You could list some.
Yeah.
The
But
non-classified.
trying to keep the momentum of, especially when you have lots of people, and you need to do certain productions. Life happens, so you having somebody who can say, "Hey, how we doing? What you guys working on? How hey, I found this about maybe we can use this, and then getting together and having like brunch or whatever, or lovely beignets.
Breaks my heart.
I know, if that venue place
The
closed,
venue place
I'm
closed,
brokenhearted.
they make gluten-free beignets and everything.
But having a brainstorming session over a meal or a drink or something can help keep that momentum going. That you can get tired doing a group cosplay, especially if it's over a long period of time, and sometimes you need that inspiration to be rekindled. That spurs you to move forward with that cosplay. And that's actually the same even with a individual costume sometimes, but even more so with a group cosplay. I would think that it's like, let's just put this down for a little while. But then sometimes putting it down for a little while
winds up in a bin in the closet.
and you never get back to it. So having other people to help keeping you inspired to complete it is very important.
Yeah, there's an animatronic tentacle in my closet that isn't done yet. I had that idea 2.5-3 years ago, so.
I keep a note.
Nancy, you need to talk to this lady because she made the most amazing mobile tails for us. They'd be really good brainstorming for your tentacle.
They were impressive.
They were so fuzzy. Just
Fuzzy?
Does anybody know if we have a panel after this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then we've got 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? 4 minutes.
Not you.
So mean.
Well, we're all friends here. It's all good.
I was going to ask, what's each of your favorite social media way of staying connected with your groups?
Facebook. I have 2 ways. Facebook is great for the communication, and the Google Docs and Google Sheets is how we collaborate on a lot of stuff and keep track.
Marco Polo! I do not do Facebook.
GroupMe is also good.
Huh?
GroupMe?
GroupMe, yes. But I like the Marco Polo, especially since a lot of my group play has people in San Diego and other, locations. So it's kind of nice that we can get on there and like, hey, saw this, tell me what you guys think. That type of thing. And you get that personal face-to-face. If those of you who aren't familiar with Marco Polo, it's sort of like a text message or type of thing, but it's like a FaceTime version of it. So you take a little video and it stores it, and then the people, and you can have multiple people into the channel or the group, and leave messages for everybody. So it's really fantastic. Yeah, these delightfully clever and evil women turned me on to it.
So many polos.
Yes, but that's my preferred. Any other questions?
Any Facebook Live viewers have questions?
Currently they're telling me beans, not leaves.
That was Yogi.
Yeah, Yogi.
Yogi says hi, by the way.
There we go. How's this for a secret handshake? Cafanati?
Rise and shine.
You know, the Cafanati's colors are close to Secret Service.
Green with tea, not with envy.
Just saying.
Like that one.
If you guys need the file for the super
Yes.
the symbol, just contact me and I'll send you a copy of the bitmap that I use.
And if you're not in contact yet, even though I'm trained, I will connect you.
Well, I still have this horrible idea, but I need to get together with Matt.
See, further plotting.
Thank you all so much for this panel. It's really informative.
Ladies.
Plus, we came up with some new ideas for group cosplay.
Because we don't ever come up with good ideas for group cosplay.
Never.
But not every
We have come up with too many ideas. I
We
know,
need
but
a
full
group
of
cosplay database for our social circle. Yes. When you come up with one, you log in, you put it up there, and then
And people jump in and go, ooh!
yes. And if more than two jump in and go ooh ooh ooh, then you do.
We need like a dating app for the group cosplay.
For group cosplay
Yes.
dating, yeah.
Tinder, you can be like cosplayer. You just swipe right or left.
I think
So that wouldn't be the carbon dating app.
that was
That was
wonderful.
brilliant.
That was utterly
If you
brilliant.
missed it last
But
night,
it's
we
a
did
chat.
match game,
Which was so much fun.
hilarious.
You guys were amazing as
Still
celebrity
feel like the
judges.
Ewoks.
Yeah, there was people
No,
had
no,
it
it
in
was
for
the
the
Gungans.
Ewoks.
Everyone was after the
Gungans
Gungans.
and Ewoks. Everybody had it in for them.
Yeah.
Short
You
and
know,
fuzzy.
I like the Ewoks. The Gungans are fine.
All right, well,
All right.
so
that is our time, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May the force be with you.
I'm sorry.
I get to go talk about villains in panel room 1.
Villains.
Yes, cosplaying bad.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
assuming that's what they meant, unless it's bad cosplay.
Bad cosplay, there you go.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.